A lot of people who come to see us as a chiropractor come in very frustrated because they're experiencing low back pain, and it's often not due to any obvious major injury. I'm Dr. Rodney White with Sapi Chiropractic, and today we're going to give a quick rundown of how low back injuries work and the impact that could have on other areas of your spine. So we know through the science that the deep little postural muscles deep within our spine, that's really our true core muscles. The core isn't the six-pack we all think about. It's these deep little postural muscles. We know that the information they send to the brain, and then vice versa, we know that controls almost everything that's going on in our body that involves movement. Those muscles have to fire first before we can lift an arm. They're constantly managing what's going on when we walk and when we sit, when we go from sitting to standing. All of these things, it's a very vital part of our nervous system that gives a lot of valuable information to our brain. So if that's not firing properly, or there's some kind of miscommunication, now we're in trouble, because the brain can't rely on those very subtle movements and pressure changes from those muscles anymore to correct posture and change things. It has to rely on what's going on with all the muscles and receptors in our legs, and that's too slow to get to the brain. So quite often when you have a low back issue, and probably 90% of you or more watching this who have ever hurt your low back before, it's almost always from very small, insignificant issues. You got out of your truck and your back hurt, you slept the wrong way, you bent down to pick up something light off the ground. All these little things that really shouldn't cause low back pain. Well, anytime that happens, that means that your brain and those deep postural muscles haven't been on the same page with clear communication, probably for a very long time. And it's been building up for a long time. So when that happens and you're one of those people, there's a couple things you need to do. Number one, you obviously need to go and get adjusted by a chiropractor. The science has shown in the last 2 decades, when we adjust someone's spine, not only does it clean up all of the communication that's going to the brain, but especially the communication back and forward from those deep little muscles, and the brain can get better control of that and control that core and just stabilize everything, and you'll be much safer and sturdier there. The other thing that you want to do is really work those core muscles yourself. And again, remember, the core isn't the six-pack we see, it's these deeper muscles. They're not failing you because they're lacking strength. It's all a timing issue. So how do we grow that? Challenging balance. So some examples might be doing one-legged squats on a Bosu ball. That's that half exercise ball. Doing planks, but you might lift one arm or lift a leg. Anything that challenges balance while you're holding stable in your midsection, that's the best way to try and wake up and fire those core muscles again. And usually the combination of those two is what really helps people get everything stable again in their low back. Doing those exercises consistently with discipline and getting adjusted by a chiropractor and getting all that communication clear again. In fact, that's why the majority of chiropractors will tell you when you're out of pain, hey, try not to wait until you're in pain again. Come in for a tune-up occasionally so that we can find any emerging issues in your nervous system and get that adjusted and cleaned up so that your brain and those deeper postural muscles can talk to each other again. Because you don't have to have pain for there to be a problem there. There was one study done in Australia where they took 90 very healthy individuals, these were all football players, and they wanted to measure their ability to activate those postural muscles in their low back. And none of these guys had pain. They found that 20 of them were not able to do what's called pre-activating their core and abdominal muscles before performing arm movements, because there's this whole mechanism called the feed-forward mechanism where our low back has to stabilize first, then we move our arm, and we're actually at big risk of low back injuries if that doesn't stabilize and we move our arm or our leg. It's quite fascinating. So 20 of these guys couldn't pre-activate those muscles. After only 2 chiropractic adjustments, there was an average 40% increase in the pre-activation time in those guys in firing those muscles again. That's huge. So that's what we're looking for when we're doing a tune-up on you. It's not all about pain. It's how do we keep your brain and all those core muscles being on the same page, being able to fire immediately as needed to give you the stability and protection in your low back so that you don't get injured from hundreds of micro traumas because every time you move an arm or every time you take a step, things aren't firing and you're slowly tearing up that back. And then you become that person who's got the alls I did syndrome, where you're in pain just getting out of your truck or waking up and getting out of bed, the things that shouldn't really be happening. That's why we recommend getting a tune-up. So hopefully this makes sense. If you've got questions regarding low back pain or any of the science we're talking about here, leave a comment below. We always love to have the interaction and talk about it. If you don't have a good chiropractor, we can help you find one. If you're in Omaha, we'd love to meet you and help you out. But if you're not in the Omaha area, let us know and we'll see if we have any good recommendations for you. But thanks so much for watching all the way through to here. We appreciate the attention and we'll see you all again next time.